Saturday, I was reading Twitter, checking up on what was going on with the Jake Paul fight, which seemed like kind of a big deal at that moment. And then we get hit with the extremely traumatic news about our good friend Draco the Ruler, somebody that
Yeah.
all of us in various forms have been able to, or were lucky enough to spend some time around. Obviously, I got to interview him three times, I guess, like two times since he got out of prison, one time before that, jail rather. AD's bunch of music with him and stuff. You knew him pretty well. House phone. I'm sure you've seen him a million times out and about.
Yeah.
And we get hit obviously with this fucking terrible news that Draco the Ruler, one of the greatest rappers to ever have emerged from Los Angeles, had been stabbed.
Man.
And at first it was kind of just a blast of info because people were tweeting left and right about it, etc. I ended up just fucking feeling like shit, which I thought was like 100% due to the misery that I was feeling about finding out this happened to my friend. It turned out that I also had fucking COVID at the same time. But then I
No,
woke up in the
Marion.
morning. Huh?
They call it the Marion strain for some reason.
What'd you say?
They what's it called? The acronym or whatever?
Omicron.
Yeah, but they calling it the Marion.
The Marion.
Yeah.
They think they're funny. You're right. And then I woke up in the morning and found out that he didn't make it. And man, I don't even know what to say. It was just a like absolute blow to the city, to everybody who loves rap music. I really seen people coming out of the woodwork that I didn't even know were Draco fans, letting us know how much his music meant to them and stuff. I mean, I think it hurts extra bad because of the fact that we were all like rallying behind him and rooting for him to get out of jail for years. Especially people like Jeff Weiss, who took a real serious interest in his case. And and we end up in this fucking terrible position where it feels like all that was kind of all that energy that people put into his case didn't really end up going anywhere because he got out, had this amazing run, and then he just got taken out on the most bullshit situation ever.
It's just crazy, just like watching the details emerge, like you said. I had my pop up on Saturday, and we finished pretty early, like probably around like 5 p.m. Thank you very much to AD for coming and possibly spreading COVID throughout the whole event. But
Come on,
thank you
man.
no, thank you for AD for coming. But who did I go with? I went with somebody to this Bodega Carhartt event, and I actually saw Hakeem there. Me and Hakeem were kind of just hanging out. He was the one who broke the news to me, and I was just like, dude, there's no way. And like, we just start seeing the crazy videos and shit, which is one thing I would never understand. Like, nobody wants to see a video of like him laid out, bloody, all by the face. Like,
Bro, I hate shit like that, bro. And it's the same as the Slim situation, bro. It's like I don't think people like you imagine being somebody's dad or somebody, people got moms and family members, bro. Nobody wants to see that, bro. Like that's just disgusting. The people that upload that shit, that pass it around, bro, that shit is grimy, bro.
the only
Really
people
shouldn't do
that
shit like
only
that.
people that want to see some shit like that is the people that did it to him, and obviously they were there. So there's no need there's no need to take videos, spread videos like that. Like, it's just sad, bro. Nope. Like the internet is just so ruthless,
Yeah, I mean, it just shows this like really toxic fan mentality where just because somebody is famous, they somehow can't separate themselves from the fact that it's also a human being. And they, I made the accident of clicking on this one group chat that AD and I are both in on Instagram, where it's basically just like a bunch of random people. I don't think me or AD know anybody in it. It's just like a account based Instagram account for a fucking a meme page, basically. And I clicked through it today. I made the accidental mistake of clicking on it, and I start scrolling through it, and it's like a fucking competition for who could have the best footage of our friend dying in the fucking group chat. And I was just really,
Yeah, that shit's disgusting, man.
I
it's
mean,
crazy.
like, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know what people wanted him to do. Like, obviously we watched that video where the guy explained they only had a certain number of passes, and it's like, dude, you can't fight 100 people with 10 people, dude, 15 people.
Yeah, like the one thing that probably like hit me harder than even any of the videos that I saw was when I was having a conversation with Jeff Weiss. And he said,
Was he there? He was there with Draco?
He was there. I'm pretty sure he was like standing like right by Draco.
Jesus Christ.
When it occurred. And, Jeff's like a music journalist. I'm sure he's been around some shit, but it really sounded like he wasn't ready for what he saw. And he just described it to me as like the most cruel, horrific thing he'd ever seen. And that's kind of like what I've seen reiterated by some other people who are basically saying that it basically was like a prison style hit where, they weren't looking to just beat his ass. Like they wanted his life. And I mean, it's just so horrific picturing that happening in front of all those people at a fucking festival where he was in good spirits. He was excited to play to all these people. He was excited to be on a festival with the same lineup as Snoop and 50 and all these people. And I was just watching his Rolling Loud performance and just, sort of seeing like how crazy it is to have seen Draco go from playing in tiny ass warehouses and shit to, really being like a big enough artist that he belongs on these stages. And I mean, one thing that people will always try to say, they'll always try to say, oh, you shouldn't have been in the hood, or you shouldn't have been, hanging out by the corner store, or whatever the fuck they're going to say. And it's like, he was at a show, he was at a festival, a concert, a huge, well-organized, supposedly supposed to be well-organized fucking festival put on by Live Nation. And, it's not like he was just hanging out on the block or anything, bro.
Yeah, man. That seems like the worst place to take your last couple breaths,
Yeah, just the fact that he went out just like immediately before he was supposed to go have this special moment in his career. I don't know. It's just such a massive bummer, and it just keeps compounding on top of itself over and over and over, in the sense that, like, Slim was like a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Alf was like a week before that. I mean, it's just over and over and over, like just people that, we have relationships with, that we've been close with, et cetera, that we consider great dudes, just leaving us. It's fucking terrible, man.
Are we even surprised at this point anymore, bro?
I mean, you have to be kind of honest with the Draco situation, is that there's a lot of times that I was listening to his lyrics since he got out of jail where I was like, why is he provoking this kind of energy? And it's not like it was unprovoked on his part.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand why, if you're somebody who feels like people are talking crazy about you or doing this and that to you, et cetera, then, it's understandable that he would want to fire back at people that he felt like he had issues with. But, it's just, regardless of all that, obviously, we're not going to do is, obviously you guys know this, but we're not going to have a conversation about anything that hasn't been said by the police department or by a confirmed source. Obviously, we have no interest in being busybodies and gossiping about what may or may not have happened, which I think is, important, because I do see a lot of people making sort of unfounded claims on social media, and a lot of the stuff I think is way premature,
What I was thinking about too, I was like, man, it sucks as a whole, just for the shows in Los Angeles. Like, what I'm saying? They already moved Rolling Loud to San Bernardino, and it's like this festival probably is not going to happen again. You know what I mean? And with the recent crime wave that's been going around in LA, I just keep saying it constantly, like, the money, everybody's fucking the money up out here.
Mm-hmm.
It's to the point where they're not going to want to sign LA acts anymore. They're not going, and this happened before. You know what I mean? Like, I remember like 2005, 2006, like the only artist I think that was out was like Game. Everybody was, they had all these artists that were trying to break out and stuff like that. And he was the only one that like cracked it off. And then they started, letting more artists in and doing shit now. But it's like the shows are about to be fucked up. The clubs are about to be fucked up. All these festivals is fucked up, man.
Yeah, and I mean, we were just having this conversation about Rolling Loud, how it was like you guys had a good time because you were in this like bottle service area or whatever, which seems like a kind of smart addition. But, I've been to festivals of the past where all the artists are able to just mingle with each other in the back of the festival. It's all good. Everybody's just hanging out, good vibes, etc. That honestly is what makes me want to do content at festivals. Is just the fact that, I've been to certain festivals where we got some of the most incredible footage from everybody just like naturally being around each other. Rolling Loud, I not because of violence, but mostly because of COVID, I think they went a different direction and said, okay, we're going to basically have the artists come in They get up on stage, they do their performance, and then they're whisked away from the backstage area. And that's why you ended up with situations like AD said that OGZ was like at the table right next to him in the bottle service thing, because OGZ wasn't going to be able to just kick it backstage. There was no like real backstage for artists, which, you know, it makes sense from a COVID perspective, et cetera. But when I see this kind of thing, I'm like, wow, like what is the future of festivals in America or in Los Angeles look like when this kind of thing is going on? Because now all these people are going to be looking at, you know, the backstage festival thing like a massive liability waiting to happen. And keep in mind, obviously this is on the heels of the Astro World thing, and it's completely different in various ways. Obviously it was one of the headliners who got killed as opposed to 10 fans in the audience. But I mean,
shit,
you know,
a life is a life. It's all
bad.
equal at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah, man, it sucks. I wish this stuff stopped, bro. You know, it's sad all around when it comes down to it. You know, some more kids got to grow up without a, you know what I'm saying, a father. More
That's what I
mamas
was
got to
thinking about,
cry.
bro.
More families, like all that shit is crazy. And you know, and it's a real fucked up situation. And I just, you know, I hate that fucking Los Angeles, man, right now. It just seems like it's on a war path again when it should have been, you know, it was good for a while and all the emerging artists and shit like that. And now it's just like right back to the bullshit.
Yeah. His mom was not playing around. There's been rumors of his mom is looking to sue the festival allegedly and stuff like that.
Yeah, she made a statement to the news, or I'm not sure exactly where she made the statement, but the fact that she plans on suing, at the very least, I guess the festival organizers as well as the event space itself or whatever, because and that's the first thing I thought when I heard about this. I was like, if his mom is willing to take legal action, this is the most no-brainer example of it, because you know the artist's safety is in your hands.
It's the number one thing.
As a festival organizer, you know, that's why, to Rolling Loud, like that's why they weren't letting all these people be around each other, because like if there's a massive COVID outbreak, then they could probably be held liable or something. When I look at this situation, I'm like, how the fuck did anybody allow this to happen in LA in particular? I just think that if there's going to be artists backstage and you're going to have multiple different artists who have all kinds of different issues or whatever, it's just stupid as fuck to have, you know, people who have issues with each other or however the fuck that went down all around each other and shit. It just seems like they're 100% going to be held liable. And at the same time, that makes the festival organizers might be looking at Los Angeles like, this is not a smart risk for us to take. I've seen that in New York, like trying to do rap shows in New York. Oh my God, they will cancel your shit like it's fucking nothing. They do not.
You remember that year? You remember that year at Rolling Loud? They literally canceled like half of the fucking New York artists that were on the lineup.
Yeah, New York has always been a lot harder on gangster rappers in terms of live performances. Where in LA, I feel like it's not, you know, they haven't been as extreme with it. But at the same time, I mean, fuck, you can only imagine it's going to get worse from here.
Oh, yeah, man. Shit scary, bro, man. R.I.P. Draco the Ruler, man. I know.
R.I.P.
I know.
AD, do you feel like the streets are more divided right now than any other time in recent memory? Like, and do you think that this right here is going to prompt more violence?
I've been like I said earlier, I compare it to like, to me, like the worst time that I ever seen LA was like 2005, 2006. It was just like nonstop, and it's feeling like this shit again too. Like with the robberies on top of that, with the, you know, and it's not just artists that are getting killed. There's all type of people getting killed in the streets who don't get to get reported on and stuff like that. And if you know, if you from LA, you probably know it's all around bad right now. It's fucked up.
Yeah. No, yeah. I the other day I saw a news story about like 3 different kids who got murdered in LA, like adjacent to different schools and playgrounds, like between the ages of like 9 and 12. And I mean, there's just 3 kids, like the fucking, like,
how?
it was
like,
barely reported on. One day, 3 children murdered in Los Angeles. Barely reported on. Now, I don't want to like compare things that are unequal, because I understand why this thing that I'm about to contrast with that getting so much more media attention. Like, I get it. People pay attention to things that are crazy and rare. But a dude got his fucking Rolex snatched off his arm at like a cafe in Beverly Hills or something. Like
It was a Richard Millie though.
That was a Richard Millie, yeah.
Wall to wall on the news. Everybody talking about it because it was a fucking rich dude with an expensive watch that got taken in a nice part of town. Meanwhile, you got 3 kids who got shot and murdered in the hood. I barely heard anything. If I didn't know about it, I would have never. If I didn't like read this one particular tweet about it, I never would have even known because it didn't really make headlines like that.
Shit, man. You know where niggas is fucked up at? Y'all start rapping about this expensive shit too much, and now the average hood nigga knows that a Richard Millie is worth like $500K or something, you know?
That is a good point because think about the 90s. Like violence was way worse in LA in the 90s, but a lot of people in the hood, it's not like they had access to like the information that they would need to go to know how people were maybe necessarily living in Beverly Hills, you know? Now there's so much information online that it's easy for them to spot somebody who's a lick or to follow somebody home from the club, etc. They know how much the shit is worth. It's just like, and then at the same time, the reason why we all know about it whenever it happens is basically because of the fact that fucking there's ring cameras outside of every single person's home. Those clips go crazy on social media. You know, like somebody gets shot and killed outside their home in LA. It's on 15 different social media accounts that, and you don't even see it posted on the big ones for the most part, because like a lot of that stuff is too violent to even end up on the No Jumper Instagram. But then we end up seeing it on all these, street people of Los Angeles accounts that we all fucking follow at this point, etc. And it's, it's just a fucked up state of affairs. I feel like everybody's kind of on edge. I heard like, girls and stuff talking about like, oh, I'm not going to wear my wedding ring when I go out anymore.
Oh, that's just an excuse. Don't listen to that.
Huh?
That's just an excuse. Don't listen to that.
You're a shithead. But yeah, man, shit is all fucked up. I don't know. One thing I also wanted to address is like, I see some people saying, "Oh, Adam, you provoke somehow with this fucking Draco thing." I'm like, watch that whole most recent interview that I did with him. There's one moment where he starts basically saying some shit that I don't understand at all, and you can notice that AD starts telling me like, "Don't, like, no more follow-up questions, like, don't ask about this," which I thank AD for saying that, because I don't want to be wrapped up in someone talking shit about somebody in the streets or whatever, right? But then after that, like people are trying to say that like that somehow like encouraged it or whatever. I don't even understand how I haven't seen anybody who I really like respect their opinion saying that per se. But just the fact that anybody would try to say that, man, like people
like blaming everybody for all type of shit. Don't listen to that.
Yeah, people, especially with you, people are gonna like analyze anything you ever said, anything somebody said in an interview that they could tie back to you causing some trouble.
Yeah, but I mean, in this case, it seems like a particularly stupid thing for people to say because, he did say something that was offensive on a street level. I didn't want anything to do with it. I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, and AD basically shut the conversation down right away.
Yeah.
And I know AD had conversations with people about that afterwards. People appreciated the fact that AD kind of shut that conversation down. But I mean, to say that we are somehow like I didn't even really understand what the fuck he was talking about. So the idea that would have been like egging it on or whatever is just stupid as fuck. So I did just want to say that, because I do realize that there's some people with like sub 40 IQs out there that think that kind of stuff is either real or just funny to mention or whatever. That's another thing about the internet these days, is that your friend dies and you get to see a million motherfuckers saying stupid shit about it on social media, which is insanely annoying.
Nobody, I don't give a fuck what shit you talked, whatever was going on. Nobody deserves to go out like that, man. No. I know Ralphie must be going through it. I just wanted to send a personal condolence, to Ralphie, man. Like, he lost one of his best friends and his literal blood brother in the same year. After they beat this crazy case and like, just all came out of jail, and like the shit is just sad, man.
Terrible. Yeah. I mean, some people that are in my life that I'm close to, like somebody like Dub, I kind of don't even know how to hit him up saying, like, he's my good friend, but I don't even know what the fuck to say to him when I hit him up, because the shit is so fucked up. It's like, how do you comfort somebody when they just Like somebody like Dub is all of a sudden in the position where his business is going crazy, and all of a sudden he's doing well for himself, and you know how much it meant to him that at the same time that his career starts doing so well, he's got somebody like Draco who he's been friends with for all these years blowing up, and then for him to lose that connection, it's like I don't even know what to say to him. It's so fucked up.
I mean, I I think the best thing to do is just send them a condolence text, maybe a FaceTime. You don't got to go too deep into it, you know. But like, it's weird because you almost don't want to remind them of stuff like that. It's just like,
I would assume that somebody like Dub has not thought about a lot besides that
yeah.
in the time since, because I know how close they were. I know how much they loved each other. And, you know, I mean, it even makes me just think about like little things. Like we were at a show. There's like a No Jumper vlog. I think the title was like Adam and Lena bring their girlfriend to a block party or some shit like that. That day, we left right as the last, I think Ojeezy was about to perform, and we ended up leaving at the last minute because like it was just getting too hectic or some shit, and Lena wanted to come home, get home to take care of the kid or whatever before the kid went to bed. And then as we were about to leave, I saw Draco on stage with Ojeezy, and I thought to myself for a second, I thought like, oh, like this is shitty. Like, why am I leaving right now? I should go up there and at least give him a hug and say hi. My girl was kind of like rushing me to get into the Uber or whatever, so I didn't go over and say hi.
So it's Lena's fault. God damn it.
That was the
Lena.
last time that I saw him, was from like fucking 50 feet away, standing on stage, and I didn't even get a chance to go say hi to him. I'm probably gonna think about that forever because, you know, that was somebody I really loved and cared about, man. And
Bro, just
haven't gone. I don't
Bro,
know.
it was crazy too. I seen a tweet. Somebody said it's the end of a rap era, and they said Shoreline broke up. It said Draco's gone, and it said Greedo's in jail. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
you just never
Yeah.
know. You just never know, bro. Like, I appreciate how much closer we've all gotten over like the last year, and just us, just just like moving more as a unit, bro. Because you really just never know, bro. Like you really don't.
Yeah, and this is the other thing that really kind of fucked me up about it is that, okay, so this is Saturday. Saturday morning, I went to the Barnes and Noble because Greedo's mom, I asked Greedo's mom, and hopefully nobody spoils this to Greedo from behind bars, but Greedo's mom I said, what would be a good Christmas present for Greedo while he's locked up or whatever? And she said he does a lot of reading from behind bars. So if you sent him some books, that would make him really, really happy. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. So we go to Barnes and Noble in the morning on Saturday. I bought like a selection of like 6 different books because I don't really know what the fuck he wants to read, and I wanted to
All right.
surprise him. So I buy some books, and it turns out actually that I can't send him those books. I have to order the books from Amazon and have them sent to the prison in Texas. So I do want to say that to anybody who just heard me say that. Greedo, his most recent post on Instagram is the address that you can send books or whatever you want to send, whatever is allowed in prison, from Amazon directly, and they'll get that. So if it doesn't have to be Draco, or excuse me, it doesn't have to be Greedo. It could be anybody in your life. That's one thing. I know motherfuckers don't really be reading books on the outside all that much, at least the people we hang out with. But you know, that's one thing that I think is like a really great gift for people who are locked up, because it can help them really pass the time and shit. But that, you know, while I was doing that, you know, I'm just thinking about Greedo a lot. Me and my girl went out to eat Saturday night. Pretty much as soon as we got home was when I found out about the Draco situation, and I had been listening to fucking Greedo's Apple Music on the way to go out to eat, and she actually said to me, she said, you know, she's like, there are very few rappers that you were listening to when I met you that you still listen to all the time. She's like, why do you think that you still fuck with Greedo and Draco so hard? And I don't know exactly what I said, but when I think about it, it's like that era that was being depicted in that meme that AD's talking about, at Shoreline and Greedo and Draco. Like, to me, that was one of the greatest eras of all time in No Jumper history. Like, obviously, we basically started with the whole SoundCloud wave and everything, and that was great. But then, you know, after that, I mean, the city felt so alive in that like 2018 era with Shoreline and Draco and Greedo. Man, that was a beautiful time. And now we got Greedo doing 20 years, fingers crossed, prayers up that they don't end up making him serve his whole sentence. And then, you know, Draco is gone. Sucks, man.
Rest in peace, man.
And I
Rest
also
in
know
peace.
last week we never ended up talking about Slim, so I did just want to say rest in peace to Slim too,
Rest in
because that's
peace, Slim.
obviously somebody that like all of us knew, all had a relationship with,
I
great
told a bitch
guy.
nigga, hold up.
I love Slim, man, and it sucks because me and AD were sort of like going back and forth about like what show he
Put
should
him
be
on the
on to
show.
do his next interview. We didn't really like come to a conclusion. We talked about that like 5 days before he passed.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess it's always going to be that way, where there's always going to be like that one thing that you wish that you had been able to do before somebody passed, And yeah, I don't know. I'm just ridiculously bummed about the whole thing, man.
Man, I wish the trolls would just let it go in certain situations and just like, if you don't have nothing nice to say, just maybe don't say it at all right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it might be a little bit too much to ask of people, since to a lot of fans out there, just feel to them it's like they're playing a fucking video game, honestly.
That's fucked
Like,
up though, because it's not a video game. This people's real life. It's people's families that got to see that shit. And just because you're trying to get some Instagram comment off by saying the most disrespectful or the most obvious or just the stupidest thing you could say, it's like it's not the time or place for
Hey
it
man,
right now.
that energy shit is real. Whatever you put out in the world, that shit come back to you. So when you saying bad shit on the comments, when you sitting there doing all that bullshit, it's gonna come back to you in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Like there's too much evil in the world already. You know what I'm saying? Try to spread a little positivity.
It's the evil world we live in.
Especially have respect when so many artists and people that we know are passed away. You know what I'm saying? That shit ain't cool. Have some respect for the family and shit. Nobody want to see that.
His family's probably already going through a terrible time right now. That's just the last thing they need to see,
yeah, just seeing so many fucking heartfelt tributes going down, and it's mostly like people's Instagram stories, but I just got hit in the head with it over and over and over, like seeing what Remble had to say, because Draco was such a hero to him, seeing what all these Stink Team dudes had to say. I mean,
shout out to Chief and Heavy. I just met him at my pop-up, and I was just like, damn, that's just crazy that like that was one of the first things that happened afterwards. I just met this fool, man.
Damn, you didn't know him before? Because when I pulled up to Melrose the other day, I seen that he had a pop-up.
So you pulled up to Melrose the other day, but you didn't want to come on Saturday.
Speak
on it. It was Dad Day. You'll never understand until you have a kid. And AD, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
You could have brought Parker, and I would have.
You could have brought Parker, nigga.
Hell no.
It wasn't nobody. We weren't smoking weed like inside. Like it would have been totally fine, bro. Parker and would have been safe and sound.
I'm sure you had a very, very friendly environment going on at your fucking ketamine den / shoe pop up.
There was no ketamine.
Hey, that shit was dope as fuck. And I want to say I'm real proud of House Phone. I mean, like for me having the original conversations with him, bro, like him really not knowing which way he wanted to go and shit like that, to like really zoning in on what the fuck he wanted to do. So just to see him start the high rollers, and that pop up was dope as fuck. Like the way they set it up, they had crap tables around. They had the shoes everywhere. It was set up dope as fuck. They had my nigga Nick making hats for people and shit. Like it was overall.
We kicked all that shit off in a week, bro. I don't know how the fuck we did it, but we did it, bro.